Hey all, welcome to Let's Eat with Russ. This one's super easy. Today I'm just going to show you how I make homemade chicken or turkey bone broth. So I didn't even cook this chicken, to be honest. It's just one of those roasted chickens from the grocery store, but it's still a whole chicken carcass, and I try to use all parts of the buffalo, so to speak. So I like to make bone broth out of it. You can use it in soups or other things that you cook with that would call for chicken broth or whatever. Or if you are looking for the collagen and the health benefits, you can just warm it up and drink it. So it's basically that simple. Just throw the carcass in and top it off with enough water until it's kind of mostly submerged. If you use too much water, it's going to be a little on the thin side, so I try to keep the water to a minimum. So see, some of it's like sticking out there. Sometimes I'll even try to just break up the carcass a little bit to get it to be submerged without needing as much water. Also, as it simmers, because it's going to simmer for several hours, it'll cook down and some of the water will evaporate off, as long as you don't put a lid on it, which I don't. Another thing, and you want to try to leave as much of the cartilage and even the skin on the carcass as you get all the meat that you're going to eat off of it, because that's where a lot of the good stuff, the collagen and everything is. And to help get some of that cooked into the broth, if I can get this thing open, I don't even measure it, honestly. I just put a little splash of apple cider vinegar. And you can try to season it to make it, a little more flavorful. You can add your favorite herbs or spices. I usually just do a little salt and pepper. I find it mostly just ends up sinking to the bottom anyway. So it's, it might flavor it a little bit, but you'll get sort of, I guess I'd call it sediment at the bottom of your broth after you finish harvesting it. So anyway, I'm just going to put this on the stove on very low, like low or 1. And I mean, you should probably let it go for at least 4 to 6, maybe 8 hours. Most of the time I just let it go overnight. I've cooked it for as long as 24 hours. It was still fine. So anyway, I'm going to throw this on and simmer it, and I'll show you the process to clean it up after I'm done. All right, bone broth is basically done. I actually left it on a little bit longer than I'd planned, but it'll be fine. So you can see it's pretty well cooked down. Grab my tongs so I can mess with it. So the carcass is mostly kind of falling apart because it's cooked out most of the collagen and stuff from the cartilage and the joints. So I actually like to use 2 different strainers. I'll basically use a colander stacked on top of a more fine mesh strainer. I just feel it keeps more of the random particulate matter out. So I can basically just dump this right through. And since I have a dog, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes fingering through this stuff to get all the excess meat and skin off and whatever, so I can feed that to her. Just try to get as much of the broth out of that as I can. And as you can see, the finer strainer did collect some of the little meat particles and stuff that were in there. And then what's left here is a little bit of pure gold. And what I would typically do find it. There we go. I would just take this bowl, just dump it into a quart measuring cup or any other sort of a pitcher. It's just an easier pour out of the big old bowl. And then from there, I would just dump it into a mason jar. Mason jar is pretty ideal for storing this. And since I let it cook a little bit longer, I actually cooked off a fair amount of the water. So it's hard to know until I get it into the fridge and everything. But once you put this in the fridge, if you didn't get too much water in it, or you didn't cook enough water off of it, Once it's in the fridge, it might actually thicken up and kind of turn into almost like Jello. That's fine. It's just because of the temperature. You can just pop it in the microwave and thin it back to this consistency again. It's probably a lot better than most of the bone broths that you'll buy at the store, because they always seem to be liquid at any temperature, which to me means that either there's too much water or there's not enough of the collagen and the good stuff in there. So anyway, it's pretty simple. I just like to use all parts of the chicken or turkey carcass as best I can. Why waste it? Why throw it away? I can still make some good bone broth. And if you're buying real bone broth at like a health store, you know, a Whole Foods or a Sprouts or something, that stuff can be expensive. So this is basically free. You already bought the bird. So anyway, that's how I make my bone broth. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. So this is just the final follow-up with the bone broth here. As you can see, the mason jar has been in the fridge for a day or so, and so it's kind of thickened up and a little bit sort of gelatinous. I don't know how well you can see that from here. Actually, let me use a spoon. Maybe I can show you a little bit better. See how it's kind of like Jello. I've had it where it comes out thicker than this, and I've had it where it comes out thinner than this. Again, it's usually about water content and how much collagen is in there. And those little chunks of white is just basically a little bit of fat that's solidified in the fridge. But if I pour some of this out into a glass or whatever, or even in this mason jar, if I just hit it in the microwave for a little bit, it'll turn liquid again. You can use it in a recipe instead of chicken stock or whatever it is. Or you, like I said, if you're a health nut and you just want to drink it in the morning for your collagen or whatever, you can just warm it up and drink it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.